So moving ahead, and we have the next corporate presentation, Approach to Analysis in Financial Services in 2025. And for this, I would request Shri Ashish Singh, Chief Business Officer, ScatterPie Analytics, to please come forward on the stage to do the presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I know it's right after lunch, but I'll try my best to not to bore you and maybe give at least one key takeaway point which could be useful for you. So that's all I will try in next 20 minutes. And of course, looking at this opportunity to learn from all of you as well. So I'll begin by thanking the host of the event. And I would like to thank you all as well that you have taken the time out and you have gathered here. And let's get started. So I promised you that I will not bore you, but still I'm starting with the most boring slide, which is introduction to my company, but I'll do it anyway. So I am representing ScatterPie Analytics, and we are a data analytics consulting company. And our promise to the customers is that if you have data, we are going to analyze and generate value for your business. So this is the business that we are in. We work across industries, and financial service represents as 45% of our revenue in terms of the revenue contribution. Moving on. So first of all, many interesting conversations have happened so far, and many are about to happen. So I am trying to keep myself very short and crisp. Maybe touch upon 2 or maybe 3 items, 4 to 5 minutes each, and that's all I have to say today. So the very first thing, we all started with the data. Again, going back to 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, we all started with the data. Give me the KPI. Fine, we gave it. Then we said, something is missing. Then we said, give us insight. And then whatever we meant by the insight, but something was there, it was there. Then somebody said, insight is not, maza nahi aa raha. Actionable insight hona chahiye. Then somebody changed the template a little bit and they called it actionable. Again, somebody said, no, not enough. Can we just write something about it and call it actionable, integrate it with the PowerPoint? So you see, but the point is, where is action in the actionable insight? And action has to be taken by a human being. So that's one thing I will talk about. Another thing is that most of the organization today, and financial services has been one of the leading industry in this, have implemented business intelligence in one sense or other. Some might be here in the maturity level, some might be here, but it exists in some shape and form. But we also know that right now we are at a stage where the landscape is going through a major transformation. The current year, next year, these years put together, maybe 2-3 years, some transformation will happen, and then it will reach a certain level, which will again become industry standard for next 5, 6, 7 years. So there is something we have also applied our brain. We don't know whether this is going to be industry standard or not, but I would like to share my thoughts anyway, and definitely get your feedback. And we are calling it a SMART framework because we have taken from a management theory, SMART, measurable, and things like that. That sounded at least relevant. Another thing, root cause analysis. So this is something very interesting. We came up with a concept via an experimentation, which was a direct requirement from one of our customer. So we have been working with this NBFC customer, which is based in Chennai for last many years. And one of the problem was that at end of the month, the people who have missed their target from various departments have to explain themselves why we missed it. So the point was why, or in other way, root cause analysis. Now imagine I am the one who missed my target, and I am the one who is being asked that you explain yourself. So you see, I am biased. So maybe few things I will tell, few things I will omit. So this is an error of omission. So again, we attempted something. I would like to touch upon some of the points from there as well. And then finally, last point, which I have experienced that customers are getting a lot of value from is, and again, not something new, not something revolutionary, but something which is very, very high value, but often gets ignored. Operations team have learned very well to take benefit of this, but maybe in the data analytics, the more integration is required is, can we go beyond data sets which are not the part of our enterprise systems? I will touch upon that. So where is action in actionable insight? And the scenario I have taken is collections. So collections is the blood of any financial services organization. And everybody is concerned about this, all the way from the managing director, who is answerable to the board and investor, to a collection executive who is concerned about whether I will get my incentive on the first of the next month or not. Everybody is concerned. And everybody is taking some certain actions behind this one area. But who is taking what action differs hugely. While on the one side, head of collections might be very much concerned about when it comes to taking action, formulating the strategy, allocation of agencies, or making adjustment in the policies, the collection executive guy at the ground is concerned about when it comes to taking action is that they want to make calls, they want to visit customers, they want to negotiate settlements, and definitely they have to update the CRM, otherwise their manager will not know whether they even worked in the morning, and they have a risk of getting an absent mark despite working the whole day. So good so far, but what's the problem? The problem is, let's say, now there is a lot of data. Call center data is there, visit data is there, collection app data is there. Somebody analyzed and created an interface. And then we have a very beautiful thing called role-based access control. The moment we have a role-based access control, we completely forget about the user persona, because we just apply the role-based access control and give it access to everybody. Everybody has access to the platform, everybody is logging, everybody is looking at the information, or we can call it insight, but where is the action? Because the interface is same, but the actions are very, very different in the nature. So that's the problem. So what can we do about it? Many things can be done, but I would like to touch on one topic. A smart framework for business intelligence. So there are some 4 or 5 squares here, but the biggest one is a dashboard. And we are all very much familiar with this. This is nothing new at all. So we have, let's say, a dashboard. The access is given to the user. And now, first of all, we are leaving interpretation of this dashboard to the business users. One business user can interpret it in one way. Another user can interpret it in another way. So how do we solve for this problem? So first of all, this problem, or rather I would say any problem in general, not necessarily it can be solved 100%, but we can always aim for the best. So first is the communication gap. I see a very common request, can I subscribe to these reports? Can I get this as an Excel, PDF, mail body mein aa jayega kya, and things like that. Then I look at a certain interface and all of a sudden I want to talk to my regional manager or a cluster manager. Or maybe I have a very sudden urge to send a WhatsApp, which again has some of the context from this analytics. Or I want to make a SMS, email, or any other form of communication. But then we are talking about the communication which are spread across 7 or 8 different devices. Can it be part of the same interface where my main analytics is there? And again, we have taken a certain real estate, maybe we have taken away 20 or 30% of the real estate of the screen, but then we are adding more context to this. Second is a goal, not necessarily every goal can be given in the form of a budget or a plan or a target. A lot of those are, but there is also a lot of qualitative or subjectiveness in the nature. That is why many companies like Intel and Google brought an original concept called OKR, and many of the companies, again including ScatterPie ourselves, have taken that framework, converted that into a quantifiable framework and integrated with the data analytics. So this way, on the left-hand side, we are looking at the crude numbers, and on the right-hand side, we are looking at the subjective scenario of the same. And again, depending which use case we are talking about, with the same, this can be integrated. Third one of the most important one on which I have a separate slide is a root cause analysis, which I will cover in the detail on the next slide. And then business comments. So I have seen a lot of common requests, can we export it to PPT? And then we ask why. So then they say, so we can write our comments because we have to present. So if this is request, such a common and also very, very important, why this feature is not there? It has to be there. So that's why we have put that in the framework, that if this is a very common requirement, it has to be there, so why not enable this in the form of a feature? Finally, AI data story. There is this whole screen. A lot of information is going on here. Can we take most important gist of this screen and show it? So the answer with the today's technology is definitely yes. So that's exactly what we have done. And then there are three very boring boxes which will have three small numbers. But this is where all the money is. So we spend a lot of money on data analytics tools, on the technology, on the infrastructure, as well as on all the services and people cost and everything. But how many people are using it? Only the administrator knows. Or you will know on a monthly basis, if you are lucky enough, that administrator is sharing that information. So why this information we can't share directly with the business? Definitely yes. So that's exactly why we have shared it directly. So if your users increases by 20-30%, that means your ROI directly increases by 20-30%. So this we have taken as a framework, and it is benefiting the businesses a lot. So that's what we are saying. Not necessarily everything has to be a very transformational change to add value to the business. Even by giving a better user experience and adding element of today's technology, a lot of business value can be generated without entirely reinventing the whole wheel. Root cause analysis. So again, whenever we want to answer a question of why, either we are given a management theory of 5 whys, keep asking why. Now we have 5 nodes multiplied by 5 nodes, and God knows how many nodes. Or we have a concept of drill down. I click on region, I will get north, east, southwest. I will click on product, I will get like home loan, 2-wheeler loan, 3-wheeler loan, or things like that. But that's not why. That is maybe what, or maybe where. So again, you ask why, and we are stuck. So this is a pilot which we have done for a customer. The question here is that in the previous period, the NPA was 3.86. In this period, this is 4.58. Again, the period could be anything, a month, a quarter, a year, whatever range we want to define. Why? So very natural question, why NPA went up? And if the answer of why is not actionable in the nature, which means after reading the reason, if you cannot act upon it, it is still not why, it is still what or where. So then, okay, taking a step back. Nowadays, there is a very huge expectation that I have a chat box and I will type why. And the chat box should magically talk to all of my data and should answer. Should it answer? The way vendors sell the technology to us, it definitely should answer, because that's where they market it to us, and that's where it is presented to us. But will it do? I can assure you, probably to a certain extent, but definitely not the way it is marketed to you. So then what's the solution here? So the solution is not necessarily everything can be left to a magical black box. We can still apply a lot of learning which we have taken from our past. And one of the learning is from the rule-based engines. But the problem with the rule-based engines is that they are very rigid. Now, can we take those rule-based engines and apply the flexibility or fluidity of today's AI systems and then build something? So for example, if a NPA has gone up, rule-based, there could be maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 potential reasons. And we understand statistics as a field very well. We always start with a null hypothesis, that this is a potential reason, but my assumption is that this is not a reason. Then we can look at the data, we can validate with the evidence, and if the evidence is otherwise, then yes, that is a root cause analysis, and that gets displayed here. So slightly different approach, but still using a best combination of modern technology and the rule-based engines which we had yesterday. But the beauty is when we combine two beautiful things. So, sorry. Beauty of combining two beautiful things is something I would like to give a very stupid example here. So Tori, something very boring, I do not enjoy it. Singdana, again, not so, maybe at the time of Chakna probably, but not. But then my wife mixed Singdana with Tori, and ever since I have started enjoying the dish so much. So that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that if we take two things and we combine both the theories together, and then the outcome will always be very, very beautiful rather than those two things working separately or standalone. So can we bring AI and rule-based system and combine and something beautiful will come out? Definitely yes. This is another thing, and I think I have around 2.5 minutes left. So the point here is that can we go beyond our enterprise data? Definitely yes. Should we go? Definitely yes. So this is an example where we did a competitive benchmarking, where we took enterprise data, took a lot of third-party external data. Some of it, or rather I would say a lot of it was open source, but very unstructured in the nature. And some of this was not open source, so it was procured from the right channel and places. But the problem is that since the data is coming from so many different sources, the coding is not accurate. So we did all the coding, all the mapping, so the data can seamlessly talk to each other. And the outcome was something like this. Please excuse me for the bad handwriting. This is the best I could get you under the NDA that we signed. So again, this gets updated every quarter. So all the publicly listed companies, they do the quarter filing, and then the agencies, they collect all the quarterly data. And this is the output the customer gets. So it's, I think, some 30, 40 different analysis, which is being used by the MD and the strategy office. And they can come up with the various scenarios or various innovation or new products, which they want to rule out probably in a different state, or also they are entering in new markets. So which new market to enter to? Very interesting example of TMA. So TMA is Tractor Manufacturing Association, which publishes a lot of data around tractor sales and tractor manufacturing. And the customer wants to give a loan or a credit tranche to the dealer who is selling tractor to the farmer. So how much credit tranche to give to a dealer, or whether in which district or in which state to enter first, and which brand to do a partnership with. So this is one third-party data which helped them to formulate this strategy a lot. So I think these are some of thoughts, I would say, to ponder upon, to have a discussion upon, and maybe figure it out together is what I want to leave you with. And that's all for today. So thank you for giving your 20 minutes to me.
Thank you, Ashish Singh ji. And I would request Darshit Sheth, Chief Compliance Officer of GIC Housing Finance Limited. Sir, Singh sir, can I please request you to please be here on the stage? And I would request Darshit sir to please do the felicitate sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ashish Singh, Chief Business Officer, ScatterPie Analytics.